Hi, Mark. Thank you for joining me on the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Brilliant. It's been a busy year for the Chameleons, hasn't it?
Yeah, very. Last 2 years, actually, because last year we had all the overspill from the COVID stuff that we had to catch up on, like a lot of dates that were postponed. And then this year, I thought this year was going to be quieter, but it's turned out to be just as busy. So yeah, yeah, pretty a lot of traveling.
Well, you've released two new EPs. What's it been like getting new material out there?
Um, well, I mean, we didn't want to put too much. We didn't want to put too much off the new album out before it's finished because we didn't want everything all over YouTube before
Yeah.
the album's out. So I think the only real new song was the single, um, "Where Are You?" And it was great to get something out. It was really nice to have a new song out. And then on the second thing, they were like songs. Some of those songs were songs me, Reg, and Dave got together right at the very beginning before the first Peel session, but we never finished them. We just like threw them away. And I got them together to do a history of the Chameleons for 2 nights at the Ritz the other Christmas, last Christmas, I think it was. And we looked at each other, me and Reggie were like, why did we never do these? Why did we throw them away? And he's like, I don't know. So I said, we should record them. So we recorded them, and then the opportunity came to put them out. We said, yeah, good, because it'll keep the momentum going. Because I think by that time, I think we knew that finishing the album was gonna be late. We were going to be into 2025 before we finished it. So we thought it'd give us something. It'd give some fans uh, something interesting to hear until we could get the actual new album completed.
So, where are you with the album then? Is it nearly finished then?
Nah, about halfway. I mean, we've got more than we need at the moment, but we kind of feel we still want to write a little bit more for it. Um, and we're really excited by what we're doing. And as I say, I think it's always better to have too much material than not enough. But I still feel, I'd like to kind of develop one or two more of the other ideas before we actually commit, to what the album will or what will be on it.
What can people expect from the album then?
It is going to be different. I mean, it's not going to be when we don't. The band doesn't sound like it sounded 30 years ago because, like, as I've been saying this a lot lately, and it's true. I mean, one of the founders of that guitar sound, this is just what we're known for. He left the band 20 years ago. We're not going to steal his guitar sound. You know what I mean? He took it with him. So I mean, this is very much who the band is now. I mean, it's me and Reg Smithers, um, who were like obviously extremely pivotal in writing a lot of the stuff that people already know. Um, with a few new guys that we brought in to keep it going, because this is the first time really we felt we've got the right people to take the music forward. So that's why it's kind of happening now, really, rather than before.
Would you say this is the happiest you've been in the band for a long time?
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. It's the best. I personally feel it's the best band I've ever played with, and I don't mean that I don't mean that to reflect on it, negatively on anybody else. I mean, I've played with really great people. I mean, I was lucky enough to join a band that had for my, arguably, but in my opinion, two of the best guitar players ever to come out of Manchester. So, um, it's no slight on Dave or anything, and it's no slight on anybody else I've worked with. It's I've worked with some really great people, but I honestly feel this is the strongest band that I've ever played in.
I heard you say before when you did the first three albums, it was coming out of punk and post punk, and you were obviously going to be influenced by that. But this new album and new material has got different influences because it's been
Yeah,
so long.
yeah, it has. It has. I think we're more comfortable with um, embracing what our real influences were. All the bands that we got into in the '60s and the '70s. So there's like a very, in terms of the writing, especially, it's very kind of '70s. I suppose. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. For us, it's a good thing. I mean, we're really, I don't think anybody's writing like. I mean, I was saying this yesterday. We were mixing a track yesterday, and I'm like, I don't think anybody's writing like this anymore. They don't write like this anymore, which is fine. It's fine. I mean, I love the way that contemporary bands write and how it. I love what they do. You know, but in terms of actually, s- songwriting, it seems to have it seems to have kind of been left behind in the '70s a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of, I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about big popular chart hits. I'm talking about the underground that we inhabit. It all tends to be more groovy, jammy based. Stuff that's jammed and groovy kind of thing, kind of going on. It's like old school songwriting, and this is, I think. So the songs are going to be different, the sounds are going to be different. It's going to polarize the audience. I mean, I already know it already has. I mean, the single already did, and I expected that, and I'm cool with it. If what you love about Chameleons is what we were doing 30 years ago, then you've got those records. You don't,
yeah,
enjoy them. We want to try and take it forward. And to be fair, I mean, I know that we've influenced a lot of bands that came behind us. That those that are still doing it, they're doing it better than we could anyway. You know what I mean? They're like, they've taken that forward. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
They've
yeah.
like they're influenced by Dave and Reggie's guitar playing and whatever, and they've taken that in their own way and they've made it better. They're doing it better than we could. We don't really want to do that anymore. You know,
Well, you mentioned it's a different sound, but you can still feel the Chameleons music in there, though.
well, you got two of the same writers, so there's going to be that element. You
Well, yeah,
know,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I just want to go back to the start, really. What was life like for you growing up in Manchester?
It was um, it was hard, but I mean, no, I mean a lot. I did worse than I did. Um, I mean, I came from a typical working class north of England household. But minus the brothers and sisters. I didn't have any brothers or sisters. I'm an only child, so I didn't have that. Um, and it was like, music. I got into music very, very, very early, very young. So that was with me my whole life. I started. I mean, I was in the Beatles at 4 years old. Uh, I, they my parent, my mum, I think it was my mother predominantly was worried about me because I was approaching the age of 4 and I wasn't actually talking, and they thought I might be autistic, which I think I am a little bit. And then this girl who was at the nursery where she put me while she worked all day had the bright idea of playing me Beatles records, so she started playing me Beatles records. And I learned to sing them. I loved them, and I learned to sing them, and that's how I learned to talk. So that's how early I've been into music, right? So I was Beatles mad from the age of 4 right through the '60s. Uh, and then obviously embraced other things that came along as well in the '60s, like the Who and the Doors eventually. But it's been I've been buying records my whole life, so music was really at the center of my growing up. And then of course there was the football and all the football violence and all that stuff. I had experience of that as well a little bit. Well, mostly no, I didn't. I saw the violence. I wasn't a participant. I learned to run very fast. Um, when I was growing up, I used to go and watch City Home and Away at like 14 and 15, and it was really hairy. You know what I mean? And I saw all of that, and then I walked. I sacked it when I was. I think I was. What was that? About just turned 16. I went to an home game at Main Road, and I saw two scousers getting kicked the fuck in the door. Me and my mate, and he broke the window of the grocery shop to distract everybody because they were in this doorway. They couldn't get out, and so there was a Lions made ice cream sign, and he threw it through the window, and everyone started looting the shop. And we got the two guys out, and we said, "I keep your fucking mouth shut." And we walked them to Piccadilly. I think it was Piccadilly Station of Victoria. I can't remember. I think it was Piccadilly actually. We were going for Piccadilly. I think it was. And we walked them there, and I said to Bezza after that, I said, "That's it. I'm done. I'm not fucking going again." So I stopped going for a long time, and then that's when punk happened. So I got into that instead, and yeah, it changed my life.
What you were going to a lot of gigs at this time as well when you when punk came about.
I'd been going to some, yeah. I mean, as I say, because music was central. I was going to gigs at mainly at the Free Trade Hall, and there was a lot of prog rock stuff, mainly like Nazareth and Alex Harvey. But the Sensational Alex Harvey band were one of my big favourites. Um, but I don't see pretty much anything. I saw T Rex. That was my first show. Uh, um, when I was young. I was like about 13, 14. So ever since then, I started going to the Palace Theatre. So I saw Queen when they was supporting I think Mott the Hoople. I saw Eno with Roxy Music. I saw Hawkwind at the Palace with Lemmy. When that girl came down with the tits out. Um, yeah, I mean, I was going to gigs pretty regularly, and I went to the Electric Circus. I think I went to see Bebop Deluxe. I think, if my memory serves me right, it's Bebop Deluxe, and the Damned opened, and they got bottled off after about 10 minutes. And but I was like, wow, what was that? So it was actually the Damned that got me into punk rather than the Pistols. Um, and then when their record came out, I kind of bought that, and then Anarchy happened and all that Fiora in London. And from that point on, I quit I was working by that. So I left school, still 16, but I just left school. And I was working with my old man, and I just sacked that and said, no, I want to do music. And that's what kind of changed my life, punk. Because that was the first time you felt you could be in a band. Before that, you thought, oh, I'll never be. I'd have to be practiced for 10 years, before I can be good enough to be in a. There was this idea that you had to be musically great to be in a band. You had to really be able to play. And punks went, nah, you don't. It's attitude. That's all you need is an attitude. So it changed everything. So that made it like, God, I could be in a band, I could actually be in a band right now. So I chose bass because I reckoned it would be the easiest to learn. The fastest way to get in a band would be bass because it's only got 4 strings. How hard can it be,
Did you play along to records then when you were learning the bass?
Yeah, I started playing along to punk records. Yeah, yeah. Stranglers, Adverts, Pistols. Yeah.
Would you say that's the best way to learn them, playing along to a song?
I think so. Yeah, I think it is. I think once you learn to tune it, um, take your favorite records and just do it till your fingers hurt. I think that's the best way of doing it. Yeah, that's the fastest way. Oh, you can take lessons, I guess, but I mean, lessons is very methodical, isn't it? You got to learn the theory and you got to learn the scales and you got to they teach you all that
Yeah.
stuff. When you're a kid, you just want to play, you just want to get up and do it. So I mean, yeah, I'd say that that's the best way of learning is to play along to your favorite records. Definitely. I mean, I suppose it's harder on guitar than it is on a bass. Bass is pretty easy to. Most people go from guitar to bass. They start on the guitar and then they go to bass. Well, that's the case. That was the case when I was a kid. It was rare that you started on a bass and just learned bass and just did bass. That was quite rare, but it became more common later on. But obviously, I think that's probably the best way of doing it. Yeah,
Well, you mentioned Man City before. No,
yeah,
Gallagher said when he'd go to Main Road, the
yeah.
chanting and stuff had influenced him musically a little bit. Would you say that as well?
Nah, nah. I've tried to think of good tunes that would make good chance. I just can't do it. I've been trying the other way around. Right? What would make a really good? What would be adopted as a chant? And I just can't fucking do it. I suppose that's why some of their tunes have been chanted in the terraces because if that's where he took his influences from, that's probably why he was able to do it. Yeah.
Do you when did songwriting come to you then? When did you start writing songs?
Right as soon as I started learning to play bass, I started learning tunes. I started writing tunes. I had this like punk had become punk about. It didn't last very long. Punk, like about a year or something, and then it started becoming a bit of a parody of itself, right? And so we lampooned it, me and a mate. We had this band called the Cliches, right? And so we did all the punk cliches as a gag, really, and everybody started taking it really seriously. They all started really liking it. I only did about 3 gigs, I think, and we were sending it up, but nobody got the joke, right? Um, and then we weren't taking, obviously it wasn't anything serious, as I say. And then my mate who I was doing it with, he went to Oxford, right, to do something serious. And that's when David and Reg asked me to join their band. They had like a little pub prog rock band called Years, and they wanted me to join it, but I hated the drummer. I said no. So they sat the drummer and they said, right, we sacked him, will you join now? I went, yeah, all right.
Was that the start of the musical fallout for you then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think they sacked him for other. They didn't sack him because they sacked him because they weren't getting on with him very well either. I think he was being a bit of a thorn in their side. So they sacked, but they parted ways with the drummer, and then they said like, well, it's just us, and we'll find a drummer. So I said, all right, I'll do it because I didn't take it as I said, I didn't take it very seriously. I was going to do acting. That was my plan. I wanted to be an actor. I was going to go to Manchester Poly um, to do drama. And then they asked me to join, so I just joined it because we were mates. We were just like dicking around all the time with each other. We got to Liverpool a lot to Eric's and stuff like that, and hanging out. Um, initially, when I had when I was doing the cliches, Dave Fielding, he wanted to do a joint record with them on one side and us on the other. But it never happened in the end. But that's how we kind of cemented our friend, because we've known each other from school. I mean, I've known him for years, but I hadn't seen him for a while in my reg. But that's how that was the kind of foundation of it. And then when Ken went to Oxford, and I'm saying, right, well, I've just got to probably do acting. He said, like, no, I'll join our band. So I just joined it for something to do. And then when after about 6 months, we got a peel session and all this Fiora started, and I had to make a choice. I had to decide what to do, whether to, did I want to carry on and do matching at Poly, or should I throw my lot in with this? So, I mean, I decided to do this, obviously, because it was going somewhere. So, because I always reason, well, I can always do that later if it doesn't pan out. So that's how it started, really.
How could you want to be an actor? What was it about acting that appealed to you?
I always wanted to be that. I mean, I used to do, play a lot, and a teacher said to me, really, when I was about, how old would I be? Oh, about 10. She said, have you thought about what you're going to do in the future? And I'm like, no, heck no. She said, well, think about being an actor, because I've done some school projects and stuff like. She said, you'd be great. And that's kind of like, that'd be good, actually. I could actually get paid for playing, I could get paid for just playing. So that's how I thought of it. I didn't really think about the fact that you'd probably be unemployed for 99% of the year. I didn't care about that. I didn't care about that. But I know that's what kind of cemented it. And then the more, because I mean, I really love cinema, I love theatre and whatnot. So I mean, I grew up with a love of all of that. So it just seemed like, yeah, that's pretty much what I want to do. Because as I say, being in a band, that took years of practice. You had to be really a good musician and all that. I never even dreamed I'd ever end up in a band.
Would you say
Mm.
you've always been artistic then?
It depends how you it depends how you define artistic. I can't draw to save my life. Uh, I mean, I've had an interest in that. You know, um, well, I wasn't naturally artistic. I don't think. I could always sing. I knew I had a voice. Um, although ironically, I never used it in the early in the Chameleons. I just used to shout like a punk. But No, I don't ever thought myself as being artistic, not really. But I had an interest, a great love of music, and I loved art. I loved it. I respected it and enjoyed it, and especially dramatic art. But I never thought of myself as an artist. No, I still don't really.
Well, you mentioned you went down the music route, obviously. Is it
Mm,
true you and Dave went to London to give
yeah,
John Peel a tape, a
yeah,
demo?
yeah. Um, we well, we sent him. We were this guy who'd been with us, ended up being with us for donkey's years, Tony. He said like, well, you fuck playing, you don't want to be playing all these pubs and shit like that. Nobody wants to fucking listen to you anyway. Get a Peel session. That's what you ought to do. Get on John Peel. And we thought that's a good idea. So we arranged to do it, and then the drummer never turned up. He was auditioning for someone else on the night that we were supposed to do it, and we were all like crestfallen, and we just said, "I'll do it anyway." So we did it without drums, and we sent it him, and he wrote back. He wrote back to us and went, it sounds kind of like something really worthwhile going on here. He says, if you do a studio tape, make sure I get to hear it. So we just looked at each other and, right, okay. So we sold everything that we didn't need, got, I think, a day in cargo in Rochdale, made a tape. And then they went, right, we're going. I said, right, we'll mail it. No, we're not going to mail it. We're going to give it him. So he and I went down to London. His brother was working down there at the time. I think we spent a night at his brother's flat, some first night, and then we bombed it over to the BBC. We just sat outside the fucking BBC till we're waiting for him. And eventually he came and we gave it him, and he's like really surprised and saying, "Oh, well, okay, well, if you've come this far, he says, I'm not going to listen to it while you're sitting there." He says, "Come back in an hour." So he took it away and we went and had a coffee. And when we come back, he come back down. He went, "She's fucking good, actually." He didn't say fucking, he said, this is rather good, actually. Is it you? I don't know. That confused us. We went, yeah, well, what you called? We haven't got a name yet. We haven't thought of one. He said, well, you better think of one pretty fast. He says, I'll play it to his producer at that time is Chris Lyster. He said, I'll play it to my producer. And we went, oh, brilliant, great, thanks, John. We went back on the just we'd met John Peel. And then that was on I think a Thursday or a Friday. We went back up to Manchester, and then on the fucking Monday morning, the phone rings. I pick it up. John Fields on the phone. It's like, we really like it. We want you to come down for a session. I'm like, wow, all right. And he gives me to Chris Lysett, and Chris Lysett says, do you want to do it? So we're building a new place in Maida Vale. You can wait till that's finished, so you can come and do it at the 8 track at Langham. Well, I knew that a lot of stuff that had come through Peel had been recorded at Langham House. I mean, everybody from fucking Hendrix, Bowie, Roxy, they'd all Queen, they'd all recorded, they'd all done it at Langham House. So I said, yeah, Langham, Didn't even ask the others. The others didn't even know at this point. I just said, oh, we want to do it right. We'll do it at the 8 track. He went, oh, brilliant, right. So we can do it pretty soon. Then I'll make the arrangements, and we'll send, we'll get in touch with you. So then I had to rally everyone around and go, we've got it, mate, we've got it. And everyone was just like, I remember Dave's face. Dave was just staring at the space, couldn't believe it. We'd actually pulled it off. And then when after the session was done, they wouldn't give us a copy of it, right? It was a surprise. Well, can you? No, it's ours. You've got to wait to listen to it on the radio. We had to tape it off the radio, our own session. But I remember that the night before it went out, because we used to listen to this program all the time. We used to, it became a ritual. So we were listening to it on the night before our session goes out. He starts talking about us then. He says, make sure you listen tomorrow night. He says, I've got this band on. He says, they didn't even have a name when they come to me. He says, well, you don't want to miss this. And we're like, is he talking about us? We didn't even fucking like. And then the next night, he played the session went out the next night, and we heard it in the middle of all the usual kind of stuff that he plays, which is really good, because he stood up for us anyway. We thought, like, doesn't fucking sound crap, you know what I mean? And then the day after that, that's when the phone starts ringing, and my life, all our lives, completely changed from that day on. That was never the same after that. It literally changed our lives overnight.
Crazy,
Because then we've got record labels and wanting to see the band, and people wanting to talk to us, managers, and all sorts of shit going on. It was just, and we didn't have a manager. That was the problem. We should have. That was the first thing we should have sorted out. But we didn't. We were so fucking naive about everything. It never occurred to us. So we're trying to negotiate all this without a manager, and it's crazy. But yeah, life literally was never the same after that.
Well, you went with Epic Records. What was it like with everything happening so fast? Was it hard, like,
It was going so fast. I couldn't. I was just like, I felt like I was in a riptide. Like it's just been carried along from one surreal situation to the next. I remember it hitting me when I was sitting in Virgin offices with Miles Copeland, and he was saying to us, yeah, we want to manage you, and if you sign with us, you'll be millionaires in a year, and all this. And I'm like, and Reggie's fast as light, and Reggie's snoring on the sofa. He's falling asleep, and I'm thinking, this is fucking weird, man. This is what is going on here. This is where's the story? Isn't this because I'd read all these biographies as a kid of all these bands, T-Rex and how much did that to go through to get to that point? And I'd only just fucking joined the band, and I'm like, where's the story? Where's the fucking story about it? Aren't you supposed to have years of struggle? I mean, I didn't realize this, that I was doing it the other way around. I was starting at the top and working my way down.
Did you have a vision then when you started with a band, or was it just take it as it all came?
I had no. I was a punk, so even being in CBS was sacrilegious to me. Why aren't we at Rough Trade or Cherry Red or but I mean, we sent tapes to all them, and they're going go to the majors. They just heard us as a major band. I don't know why, but because I was really confused. I'm saying, well, if you think we're going to be really big, why don't you want us? Why would you send this? Why would you send this to somewhere else? I mean, the only big record label I was really interested in was Island, and we didn't even get a chance to speak to Island. So I was kind of like, oh, I want to be on Island Records, because I really like a lot of the records I bought were on Island, Sparks and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, it was just so fast, but it was like, Dave was really in the driving seat at that point. He was the one who decided that Epic was the best way forward. And to be fair, I mean, they were dangling a lot of carrots in front of us. They're like going, well, if you sign with us, you can be, because we wanted to work with Lillywhite specifically. We wanted to work with Steve Lillywhite. We said that. And they said, well, you could be working with Lillywhite next week if you fucking signed the thing. And then then we met Lillywhite. Lillywhite's going, yeah, I'd like to do it and all this stuff. So it was kind of the fastest. I suppose it was just like, let's get it going, you know. Um, but it was a mistake in hindsight, really. We should have been a bit more um discerning. you
Do you
know,
think
it wasn't the right label for us.
do you think the naivety helped you and also winded you? Like with that's naive, pretty naive going down to John Peel in it and handing it to him.
Yeah, from that point of view, yeah, from the night we were so naive that we didn't think that was anything weird. We didn't think there was anything strange in that. It was the obvious thing to do. You know what I mean? Go, let's just right. He's written to us. He asked us to make a tape. Let's just go and give it to him. Yeah, it was the obvious thing to do. And from John's point of view, no one had ever done that. No one had ever thought of doing that before. They'd all sent him like, inflatable penny dog leashes with the tape stuck to it and shit like this to get his attention. And nobody had ever just thought, well, that's what just go down and give it him. I mean, so us, we were so naive that we thought that was the most obvious thing to do. So yeah, from that point of view, you're right. Yeah, that it was a double-edged sword. Yeah, once the shit hit the fan, we had no one to guide us. You know.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned it didn't work out with Epic. Will they try to change the band?
Um, well, they weren't honest with it. You know, they were like, I was saying, well, for this kind of investment, they're going to want to hit pretty quick, and we're not a hit machine. So, I mean, that's going to cause us problems. And then they're going, no, no, we see you as an album band. You know, we're going to develop you over time and all this. And it was bullshit, you know. And it's because it started right away. They wanted The Fan and the Bellows as a single, and we're like, don't know about that. And I said, anyway, it's got the word masturbates in it. You can't put that on the radio. And then we can change that. I said, I'm not fucking changing anything. I'm not changing the words, I'm not changing the lyrics. Um, there was a lot of pressure on me to do that. And then when we did come up with In Shreds, which was obviously a fucking great debut single, I mean, we knew it wasn't a single you were going to throw at the radio, but it was a record that when people discover that record, they're gonna be very interested in this band. You know what I mean? It was as strong as anything Killing Joke had done, and that was the aim of it. And it was so obviously a great single, and we had to fight so hard to get that single out. And I'm like, and Dave's going, I don't understand it. Why it's so obviously such a. I said, they don't. It's not the right label for us. That's why. They're not the right label. If they're the right label, would have heard that and gone, yeah, absolutely, in a heartbeat. So exciting. Um, I mean, even Lillywhite was like, oh, it's too much compression on the hi hat. We're like, what? What the fuck does that mean?
What was it like working with him then on that debut single?
I mean, it was obviously, he was fucking great producer. There's no doubt about it. But we didn't really get on that well. I mean, I got on with him, I think, okay. But even I had an altercation with him because he started hooking up a drum machine on the first day. And I'm like, we've got a drummer. What do you want a fucking drum machine for? If Steve Lillywhite drum sound and you're hooking up a Lindrum, and he goes, well, do you want a hit record or not? And I'm like, I don't care really about a hit record. But so how many records have you had? I said, no. And he said, well, then shut up then.
Really?
It's one of those people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that idea got abandoned pretty quick. Because he was going on. He said, well, this is what Martin Hannett, he's all the hits Martin Hannett. I said, look, if we wanted a Martin Hannett hit, we'd have hired Martin Hannett. We wouldn't have hired you. You know what I mean? It was like, well, that's why we hired you. Um, I think I got on with him better than Dave. I don't think he got on with Dave at all, from what I can recall. I think there's a lot of tension. Um, he did think about doing Script to the Bridge. He said he was like either going to do Script or he was going to do the third U2 album. He couldn't decide because he said he never does 3 albums with one band. I never do 3 albums with one band. I'm like, why not? Why not? It's like one of those pretentious things someone says. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never do more than I only do 2 records with one band. You know what I mean? It's like it's to give everyone else a turn. What the fuck is that about? Fucking pretentious, really. But I mean, I don't. I mean, I never was able to confirm whether it's true or not. But I heard a story because we were talking to him. We're like, who would you like to work with, Steve? He says, oh, I said, I'd like to work. He says, there's a few bands I'd like to produce. He said, I'd like to produce Echo and the Bunnymen. Oh, okay, fair play. So apparently, like in the way after we worked with him, he got to work with them, and I don't know if this story is true. This is what I heard. they went down to work with him and they spent the first day, they're all in the studio there, and then like they're working about half day, and then they go, "Is there any shops around here?" And he says, "No, there's a shop. Don't just go on a shop." Like, okay, and in the shop, they never went back. So he must have impressed them no end. I mean, if that story's true. I can believe it, no, because he was a bit of a he was a bit pretentious. But I mean, but he was a great producer at the end of the day, man.
Yeah,
He
he is
was
a
good.
good producer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he worked on.
We learned a lot of him in spite of him. He tried to kind of hide his technique. So he wouldn't let me in the room when he was doing the vocals. He didn't want to let me see how he did it. But in the end, I got him to let me, and I got the notion of compiling. Doing like 4 or 5 takes and then compiling a really good take from it and stuff like. I learned a lot of things, and drop ins and drop outs and all that kind of business. So that when we came to do it on our own, and I saw him do certain things when he was making. He sent, the way he recorded his snare drum was really interesting and different, and I picked up on it. And when we did, so when we did Scud to the Bridge, we'd had a good grounding because we worked with the BBC. By that time, we'd worked with the BBC a couple of times, and their guys are really the best, And we'd worked with Steve Lillywhite, so we were quite confident that we could pull it off with a good engineer. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so with the debut album, how long had those songs been written, and what was it like going to the studio for that album?
Well, the songs obviously have been evolving over a long time because that's all we did when we first got to. We said we're not going to play uh, loads of shit gigs in pubs. We're going to focus on the songwriting. We're going to push that. So we'd been working on them a long time. Um, so it was quite an easy pick by the time we got to the to pick the tracks for the record. Um, they were all there. We've been playing them for quite a long. We've been playing them live for quite a while.
Does that
So
help you like
yeah,
get to know the song playing it live a lot?
there's not you can honestly, it's the best way of doing it. If you can do that, if you can, you write the songs and then get out there and play them in front of people. If there's people coming to see you, um, they evolve and get better and tighter and change, and you get to a better idea of what works and what doesn't. And uh, by the time you go in to record it, like we didn't get that chance on this new single because we had to move so fast. So we wrote it in the studio and then released it, and then went out and played it. And by the time we'd been playing it, it was so much better than was when we'd initially done it. That we completely re-recorded it for the album. So the version on the album is a fresh recording on it. It really helps. It really does help. Yeah, it's the
Speaking
best.
of, sorry, what were you saying? Sorry.
I would say it's the best way.
Yeah, speaking of songwriting though, what inspires you to write songs and lyrics like, and has it changed over the years?
Um, yeah, well, it's obviously going to change because it's whatever's going on around you when you're doing it. That's me. It's like I'm basically filtering and interpreting and expressing everything that's going on around me to some degree. Um, and that's why I think it's authentic, and that's why I think it's still relevant to a lot of people because those kinds of things that were going on around me, or even though they evolve as time goes by, they're still similar themes, right?
Yeah.
Existentialism, questions about existentialism, violence, relationships, who the fuck am I, what am I doing, and all these things that you're trying to work out when you're growing up. They're all those themes remain. They change in complexity, but they remain valid, relevant themes. So the answer is yes and no. Uh, you know, uh, they change due to the complexities, I suppose, as you get older, but not so much not in a way that they can't be relatable to by people.
How does it come about though? So, in the moment where you think, "Oh, that's a good idea for a song," or does it come later on after something's happened?
I need to I start the process of it depends. This on this album it's a little bit differently. Before we'd all get together and somebody'd have an idea, either me, Dave, Reg, or whoever, and we'd start the idea. That idea would then develop into an arrangement, and then that arrangement, the vibe of that arrangement would give me the theme, what direction to go. But I used to do everything a lot ad lib. I
Oh,
didn't. I didn't. Wouldn't sit down and write something ahead of. We'd do it, and then I'd get on the microphone on the day, and probably do it on the day that we're recording it. Keep it as spontaneous, as fresh as possible. Um, so if I had the vocal to do tomorrow, I'd have the backing track already, and I'd have a few ideas, but I wouldn't really know what I'm going to do until I'm in front of the microphone because I don't know what's going to work and what's not.
would you say your
So,
best songs came like that, or did they come already pre-written?
pardon?
Did your best songs come like that, or did you have?
They all
Or
came.
yeah.
They all came like that. They all came like that. Even the ones that we've been playing for a while. We go into the studio, waiting in the studio with Second Skin, and that whole second half hadn't been written. For Second Skin, it happened as we were recording it for the album. That's when it happened. I'm listening to it and so like, oh, I just want to do something here, and they hadn't heard what I was going to. I'm like, okay, because it just came to me, and I just went, and then I just recorded it, and they go, fucking hell, where did that come from? I'm like, well, I don't know, I don't know, you know, it just came to you while you were doing it. Ideas would come to you while you were doing it, you know.
Like,
Marijuana and mushrooms help.
do they actually really help you, drugs or that and writing?
Fucking right.
Really, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not so much these days. I'm in my 60s. This is probably why, you know, um, I'm writing differently. But yeah, we were taking shitloads of drugs, man. I like what Bill Hicks says about it. He says, Bill Hicks, he says, that comedian, he says, he's unfortunately passed away now, but he used to say like, who in this room are anti-drugs? And loads of people put their hands up. He said, right, take all your records that you bought in the 60s and the 70s and whatnot, and throw them all away. He says, they're all fucking, he says, I guarantee they're all drug induced. I mean,
Well, Sergeant Pepper's one of the biggest albums ever, isn't it?
like, exactly. I mean, you know, if you have an understanding of of why do you smoke marijuana? Well, to get high, yeah, but what does it actually do? What it's actually doing, and hallucinogenics and psychotropics especially, um, they open your fucking mind up to things, and that's what definitely helped me as a writer for sure, 100%. I mean, psychotropics still help me, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, because they actually do help people. Yeah. There's nothing like mushrooms, for example, there's nothing harmful about them at all. There's nothing that's going to do you any harm. Um, but having said that, you've got to treat them with respect, right? I'm not saying go and take loads of but they're being used in the treatment of a lot of personality disorders and depression and all of that under controlled circumstances, right? Um, it's been shown, it's been proven that it's a complete tragedy that they're a class A because psychiatrists were crying when when they were deemed a class A because all the data was come back. They were actually able not, when if you go to therapy, if you've got a problem like depression or something like that, you go to therapy, they can help you deal with it, right? But they can't cure it, right? You can't cure
Yeah, yeah.
depression. You're not going to cure if you're prone to depression, you're not going to cure it by going to therapy. You're going to help deal with it, right? You're not going to cure it, right? Psychotropists can cure it. They can cure it. And so when that happened, when psilocybin and whatever, all of them, you can talk all of the psychotropics, whether you're talking about DMT, psilocybin, ecstasy, whatever you're talking about, they help. They're beneficial to mental health. And so by criminalizing them, they shut down the psychiatric industry. The psychiatrists were all up in arms because it was actually working. They were curing people for the first time. They were actually curing it because they realized that all of these disorders and depressions, they all stem. They're like branches from one tree, and psychotropics that you're able to get to the root of the tree, right? So you can actually cure these things. There's a great film about it on Netflix if you're interested. There's
What's it
like,
called? I'll give it a look.
well, I can't remember. It's a series. Um, what the fuck is it called? It's a series. It's in about 6 parts, and each part deals with a different um element. Right?
All
Starts
right.
with I think it starts with LSD or something and goes through all of them. And this guy was cynical. He wrote a book about it. What's it called? You know what? I'll have to look it up and have I got it on my thing? I have it here. Oh, I haven't got my phone with me. Hang on. See if I've got it here. Just give me a sec. How to Change Your Mind.
All right, yeah.
How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. And he wrote a book and he's made a six, I think it's 6 part series for Netflix. It's
All
called How
right,
to
yeah.
Change Your Mind. Check that out. That
Yeah, I'll give it a watch. Yeah, yeah.
everything I've talked about is in it.
All right, nice one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to talk about a song like Swamp Thing, because when I first heard that, I
Mm.
remember it one of those songs that like it blows you away, doesn't it? And it stops you in your tracks. What was it like writing that?
It's really fast. Um, we had most of the songs for Strange Sounds written, and Dave Allen is producing it, and I think Dave Allen and the A&R guy, they were like, yeah, we still need the big song. You know, we haven't really got the big song yet. And I said, well, there's an idea that Reg came up with that I want to work on, so we'll do that. Um, and then you can, see how that turns out. And they went, okay. So we were rehearsing at the Civic Hall in Milton, and I remember when we put it together, we did it, and they were like, fucking hell, that'll do, you know. So we go into the studio in London and did it, and then I'd been in Berlin on a tour with the band, and I'd been thinking about. I was in a. It was really strange. We went through the. We came from a different direction, so we came through a part of the east part of Berlin, and it was like being in a time machine. It's like being in like 1942 or something. It was like all the buildings were all dilapidated and still had like holes in them. Right, like from the Russian guns, and it was snowing, and they had like rows of people digging snow in the street, like in overcoats and stuff like that. I'm like, fucking hell, this is weird. And then we go through the checkpoint, and it's rush hour in a West European city, complete contrast. And I remember I went into a fast food place just to, you know, orientate myself. And I went into, and I'm sitting in this fast food place with like yellow plastic formica chairs in it, and these guys with these little paper hats on and all this. And I'm like, and I'm thinking, what is that wall there for? What is it? Is it to keep all that in, or is it to keep all this out? Is it like, because Berlin is surrounded by East Germany, right? It's like East West Berlin was like a little island of the West in the middle of the Soviet territory, which is why they were so keen to keep hold of it, right? So that's why they keep all the rents cheap, so no one leaves. I mean, because they want a presence there and everything. But it's like a spot of cancer. I'm thinking, is it a spot of cancer in the body politic, or is it, or is the world really to keep all that oppression in there? Which way round is it? What would happen if the fucking world fell down? Would this little spot of West be extinguished, or would it just erupt and take over? I mean, these were the thoughts that I was having. So when we came to do Swamp Thing, that's what was running. Those ideas were kind of running around in my head. So that's why why it's lyrically what it is.
I think that lyric, the storm comes, or is it just another shower, is one of the best lyrics.
There you go.
Like,
Thank you.
ever.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it going to be? Is it a big storm, or is it just going to get like extinguished? Is West Berlin going to get extinguished when the wall comes down by what's around it, or is it going to be the other way around? Is it going to erupt into a storm and completely sweep through and take? Is Western capitalism going to go like fuck off? And just like take, which is exactly what happened in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
About 5 or 6 years later, yeah.
Is there any other stories like about songs like that that came kind of when you were thinking of?
All of them, I think. I mean, but um, as I say, you travel around and everything's going to happen. Everything's happening around you, and you're having all these ideas and all these thoughts, and you kind of like they're in you. So, like, it only takes something to bring it out. You know what I mean? It's like the I've always been a thinker, right? So I'd had these thoughts. So then when we came to do the song, it kind of like it something about it evoked this memory, this idea of something like, sinister and whatever. Because I found it a very sinister thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you mentioned a sinister thing. He's writing like a therapy for you then.
I suppose it is, yeah. Could be, I suppose it is. I suppose it I suppose it is, yeah, because I'm obviously, I have this, just because, I mean, I have my own traumas and stuff, and I have they I have I have I've on I'm in therapy now, but this is I would never was before. I got to get 60s before I even had thought about the idea of having therapy. So maybe it was. Yeah, it's a fair point. Could be.
Is everything all right with the therapy and stuff? Then you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah. No, just didn't want to leave it there. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think everybody should do it at some point. I think everyone should have therapy to talk
Really? Yeah.
about. Yeah, I do. I think we're all traumatized to a certain extent. We're all damaged. Our childhood's damaged us all. Then, to some degree. You can, it's got nothing to do with, growing up in an abusive household or anything. It doesn't have to be that. Um, it's just the way that, we can't help but traumatize our kids. We can't help, no matter what we do. They're gonna. It's life is a very surreal experience, and we don't know why we're doing it or why we're here and anything. And it's a very special kind of pair of parents or a very special parent that can understand that enough to not traumatize the children growing up. Um, and I mean, you can be the great best, you can be the best parents in the world, and the child can still suffer trauma for one reason or another because of everything that we're dealing with growing up. So I think if everybody had therapy at some point, we'd all be healthier.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's. I had a very opposite view of it. I mean, I had therapy. Fuck that. That's a lot of don't go. No, I spend a lot of money for them to tell me it was my mum's fault. It's I had a very stupid view of it before I actually did it, and now I understand it. Like it's like it's you your traumas, you carry them with you. You carry them inside you your whole life. You
Mm.
carry them in your body. It makes you. You need to release them, and a good therapist can help you do that. Deal with things that you just don't deal with. You suppress them, you put them down, and you hold them in your body, and that's why you have all these aches and pains and illnesses and all that. So you can let it out. You're healthier.
Do you feel like that with writing? Then sometimes you're letting it out.
Yeah. So I guess you're right. It's a good insight you've had there, man. It is like therapy. Yeah. I suppose it's a kind of that was my kind of therapy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Gives me a release for these ideas and things that I feel. Yeah, for sure.
So the second album, what does anything mean? Basically,
Mm.
it's either between that or Strange Times. That's my favorite. But what was it like going in to record the second album?
It's hard. It was a contractual obligation. It was to get us out of a situation that we did agree to do it. Um, this is why there's a lot of older songs on it, songs that didn't make script, like Looking Inwardly and Britannia and all that. They were all written pre-script, but didn't make the cut. And we didn't want to give them too many new songs. So and they decided that I don't really understand why, but they all decided because we used to go to Loch Ness a lot, so they all decided that hey, let's go to Loch Ness and record. So we're in this like residential studio north of Inverness, and it was bleak, man. It was winter. There was nothing to fucking do. Couldn't get any weed. Couldn't get any fucking anything. Couldn't get anything. We went into Inverness and went to this party, and we're like, have you got anything? What do you mean? Have you got any weed? Have you got any? No, no, we got soup. Okay, bunch of fucking hippies up in Scotland. So I was just like, oh, this is a washout. So it wasn't a very happy experience. I don't like the production of the record. I think the songs are good, but I don't like the production.
Don't you know?
No,
Does
too
that
much.
like affect you that then that you've wrote these good songs but the production wasn't great?
Only as far as the album was concerned. But for me, the best thing about that album was the sleeve. Um, the songs. I mean, I like the Peel sessions better than than you know. In fact, we went and did we did like a demo version of the album up in Bridlington with the engineer before we did the actual album itself. I think that sounds. I think that's better. I think.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, so I think it's bootleg now, but I think that's actually better. The album's like too much fucking. It's all massive reverb and I didn't. I didn't really like the production of it very much. But I like the songs on it. You know,
Yeah, great songs. Yeah, yeah.
some of them. I mean, you know, we didn't. And I think some of them could have been developed. I think like songs like "PS Goodbye" could have been delivered more. I like the way we do it now better than when we did it then. Now it hasn't. Now it actually has an ending. You know, I felt it's a little unfinished. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
What about Strange Times? Is that your favorite album then?
Well, no, Script is because we had such a good time making it. I mean, Script will always be my favorite just because it was our first album. We were all getting on, and everyone, it was such a good experience and a great experience to make. And I mean, it's got a lot of depth to it. But Strange Times is lyrically, I think, is my best work for the Chameleons. I think I gave them my best work on that record.
Was it
Um,
literally Strange Times in the band as well then?
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Really?
yeah, from about 85 to 87, being in the Chameleons wasn't a very pleasant experience for me, to be honest. It was, no, it wasn't. I didn't enjoy it at all.
What, just toxic environment kind of?
Mm, yeah,
Well, what memories have you got of the album? Have you got any good memories of it though?
yeah. I mean, I loved the place we did it. I didn't think I was going to like it, but it turned out to be really great. We had 5 weeks in the studio in south of London, and it was like really relaxed, like going to a fucking spa. Something, you know. Um, it was really enjoyable, and I know I really pushed myself on it. I, I did 14 days fasting while I was there.
Really?
Um, mm,
What for any particular reason, like?
I can't remember why I did it now. I can't honestly. I can't remember what made me do it. I went. I became a vegetarian, and I started just 2 weeks, just 14 days fasting. I didn't eat anything for 2 weeks, and then when I started to eat again, started to eat a little bit more sensibly. Stopped smoking. I'm smoking again now, but I stopped smoking then for quite a long time, which did a lot of good things for my voice. I was writing really well. I felt I was writing really well. Um, it was a really, really good time from that point of view. But I just, but it was everything else
Yeah.
on this, um, it it was just a constant drama all the time, and I was just like, ugh, yeah.
Where would you say the cracks started to show within the band then?
Then, I
Really,
think,
that point, yeah.
right, yeah, getting ready for that record, the cracks really started to show. And then Tony Fletcher, this guy from this, we got involved with Kennedy Street in Manchester, and he sent this guy over called Tony Fletcher, and we did our relationship with Tony developed so much that he became a very stabilizing influence. So we were able to hold it a get together for another couple of years.
So if it
But
wasn't for him, there wouldn't have been a Strange Times album, do you not think?
it's a good point, actually. That's a very good. I've never thought about that really. If Tony hadn't have been there, would there have been a Strange Times? No, probably not. No,
Really?
probably not. No, probably not. No.
Well, you were halfway through recording another album when he died, weren't you?
We started writing the fourth one, yeah. Yeah.
So was it impossible to finish that once he died? Was it just
Well, we finished the tracks that we'd started. Um, but that was that of John. I mean, he died, and obviously it's a massive shock and that. And I got a phone call from John, and he went, "I'm going in and setting my kit up on Monday. I don't know what you're doing." He said, "Well, if I don't know what the fuck I'll do." I said, "Yeah, that sounds like a fucking good plan, actually, because I'm sitting here like wondering what the fuck's just happened." it sounds like the best remedy. Let's go in. I said, I'll come. And then we told the others, we said to Reg and Dave, we're going in. You can do what the fuck you want, but we're going in. Oh, well, we'll come in. So we went in and we finished those 4 tracks that we'd started. We finished them, but by the end of that, it was like John had had enough, and he I was in the San Remo Cafe on Drake Street, and he comes in, he says, "I'm done. So I'm getting my stuff, and I'm fucking off. I've had enough of it." So he went, and then I'm saying today, I said, John's left the band, and I went, yeah, yeah, man. Didn't take him seriously or anything. And I'm like, and I'd heard him say it before, and I knew he was serious. I just said, like, you know what, I'm done as well, and I left.
Did it hurt at the time? Or were you
No,
relieved?
I was relieved.
Were you? Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, there was that much fucking going on. I don't want to get into details because um it involves telling, it would involve me. I just want to tell it from my point of view.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to put anything on anyone else. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to say what was going on, but what was going on was enough to make first John and then me just go, yeah, fuck this. And I said to Reg, give me a good reason for not going, and he couldn't. So
Really?
no, he couldn't. I said, like, you give me a good reason to stay, I'll stay, but I can't think of one. And he was like, So I said, yeah, I'm gone. So it just got too much. It was a relief, yeah.
Well, the tracks that you did record for that would have been fourth album. You brought out as an EP, Tony Fletcher, Walk to Water.
Yeah.
When did that come about that you were going to release that EP?
Um, when we got to I think I can't remember what year it was. And I knew John was on his ass, and I knew Reg was, and well, Dave was as well. But we weren't, we were all scattered about. And I got a phone call from Dave saying that John Walters at the BBC had been on to him wanting to release all the BBC sessions and all the Peel sessions and all that stuff. And I said, well, that sounds, yeah, I'd kind of be up for it, but I'd rather put out the new tracks that we did, you know. And he said, well, he said, they're talking about giving us an advance for this BBC one. So if you sign it, then me and Reg will agree to put the Tony Fletcher tracks out. So I went, oh, okay, that sounds like fine, yeah. So then John Walters rang me, and I had a really great conversation with John Walters, man. It was a legend because he's a legend. John Walters was a legend at the BBC. Start telling me loads of things that was going on about the BBC raising tapes with, you know, Hendrix on it and fucking Queen on it. How so much stuff had been lost, which is why they were doing what they were doing. It's why Strange Fruit were trying to save as many sessions as they could because the BBC were reusing the tapes, the multi-track, and they were losing a lot of stuff. So that was interesting. So then I agreed to do that, and then as soon as I signed the contract, Dave phoned me up again. He went, "Right now, I've got your contract on the BBC one. You can go fuck yourself with Tony Fletcher." Well, it
Really?
wasn't called. Well, it wasn't called Tony Fletcher at the time, but then you can go fuck yourself. I went, "All right, thanks." So I put it out anyway.
So how did you come back together in 2000 then?
Dave Fielding wanted it. He asked for a meeting, and I was being managed at the time by a guy called Rob Brown. And he'd been my intermediary for a while, and he says, "Dave wants a meeting with you." And I'm like, "Do I need a bodyguard?" I said, "All right." So we went to meet him, and we were listening to him talking. And he talked for a bit, and I'm looking at Rob. I'm like, and we came out of the meeting. I said, "Did he just say what I thought he said?" He said, "What about wanting to put the Chameleons back together?" Yeah, he said, "That's what he said." I fucking thought I was hallucinating. So I thought it was a good opportunity to like bury the hatchet and let bygones be bygones. And because at the end of the day, Dave had been a friend of mine since I was fucking 12, you know.
Yeah.
And Reg even longer, yeah. So I thought, well, if he's prepared to like bygones be bygones and just start fresh, and then why not? So I said, yeah, and he said, right, go and ask Reg. I said, what? You're not fucking spoke to Reg about it? He went, no, you do it. Are you kidding me? I hadn't seen Reg in 10 years. Oh, no, that's not true. I'd seen him a couple of times, but only for a brief chat. And I went round to Reggie's flat, same exactly the same place where he was when and he opened the door and, all right, come in. Come in. Do you want a brew? Like, fucking hell, it's like I've not seen him for like a day or two, you know. Um, and then so I talked about Reg and then I brought Reg in and that was it. Then we just need to get John.
Was there any reluctance to do it all again, or was you just happy to do it again?
Obviously, the back of your mind, you're like, oh, I don't know about it, right? And Reg was like, well, I don't want it to be like it. Like, and I said, no, well, neither do I, mate. You know, he says, if it gets like that, I'm gone. I said, yeah, same here. So that was kind of like a boundary we drew, you know. And I just said, well, the easiest way is like if we haven't got if something's put to us and we all want to do it, we'll do it. But if any one of us says they don't want to do it, we don't do it. Right? None of this
Yeah.
like voting. Right? Three of us want to, you don't, so we're doing it. If one of us says, I definitely don't want to do this, then we don't do it. We don't put it to a vote. We just say no because Reg doesn't want to do it, right? Or whatever. And then we should avoid conflict that way, right? Yeah,
It was.
if we all agree to that. Um, Not really, no. Reg didn't want to do which was it that Reg didn't want to do? He didn't want to do the academy. Um because it was too fat. You know, we were going to get together to do a gig. Then that gig became 3 or 4 at the Witchwood because John was adamant that that was the only place he wanted to do it. If we were going to come back, I want to do it. I want to do it with Pod and I want to do it at the Witchwood. I'm like, John, you don't understand, but because I knew that I was the only one on the internet at that time because the internet was quite a new thing. So I was the only one that was on it, and they had no idea how that the popularity of the band had grown. They didn't know this. How would they know, right? They didn't. I could see how exponentially it had grown. I knew what the interest was going to be once we decided to get back together and play a show. And he wanted to do it in this little place in Ashton. You know what I mean? And I'm like, and Pod's going, and I'm saying, John, I don't think that's the right place for it. And Pod went, oh, don't worry, I'll have a second night on reserve. And I'm like, the place holds about 250 people. So you're gonna have another night in reserve just in case there's a demand. You're out of touch, you know. Like, I mean, but I'm like, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, then fine. And then very quickly on that, SGS came in and said, we want you to play the academy, you know, which was like only a week or two later. So Reg is like, oh, it's too fast, you know, I want to see how things develop. So he was saying, I don't want to do it. So I was going to the real, Dave's going, what about the academy now? And I'm like, well, Reg, it's not happening because Reg doesn't want to do it. Because we'd said one person doesn't want to do something, we're not doing it, right? Dave went up the fucking wall. He's like, why are you standing in the way of it? I said, well, he doesn't want to do it, you know. So I talked to him again. So I managed to bring him round. I managed to bring him round to the idea of doing it, and then it was all right after that. So, but yeah, no, it didn't really work. No,
What?
just no, because it was like it was okay to say we didn't want to do something unless it was something that Dave wanted to do. You know, then
Yeah.
it became a problem. You know,
What were those reunion shows like though?
the reunion shows were amazing. I mean, I remember walking out of the academy. I'd never done a community's never done a show that big, and we come out and it was, you know, we still hold the record for that place. Um, yeah, yeah. They sold more tickets than they should have done. They were like, it was sardines right to the bar, and I could see it. I'm like, fucking hell, you know. It was constant shock, you know. And then they all probably left Scotch and Reds wondering what all the fuss was about.
Is that your favourite ever gig then you've played?
No,
What
no.
is?
The Loft in Berlin, 1983, was my favourite one ever.
Why?
We were just, I don't know, it was just, I felt it. It was the audience and the place and the band and we started writing songs on stage. I mean, you know, that's how good we were feeling. You know, we were like, we wrote One Flesh there and then on the stage. We had the first half of it, didn't know what we were going to do for the second half, just made it up as we went along and ended up recording it for the second album. So I mean, that was how cool it was. It was just very cool. Great opening band called The Savage Circle from Italy. Young kids, about fucking 17 or something. They were brilliant, really set the night up, and we were at our best. And yeah, that's my favorite one. 83 Berlin and Loft. It came out on a CD.
Oh, really?
Mm.
Oh,
So
nice.
on Imaginary. Yeah. Half Hung in Berlin, it's called.
Is it on like Spotify or is it being uploaded
Might
on
be.
there?
It might be.
Oh,
I don't know. I've not looked, but it might be.
what? So when did it all start coming to an end with the reunion then?
Um, we played it. We went on an American tour. We we played. We were doing everything ourselves. Well, I set the tour up on a phone and a laptop. I was told it couldn't be done. We didn't have an agent. We didn't have a management or anything. And I used the fan base to promote the shows because I was like, as I say, I was au fait with the internet. I
Yeah.
was on the internet really early, so yeah. Um, and then after that, when we got back, we were supposed to. He was supposed to come to Hamburg, where I was living, to start writing a new, start getting ideas for the new record. And I never saw him again after that. And then I went to Athens. And we had a bit of a. I wanted to do some acoustic shows because the Chameleons weren't didn't have anything organized. There was no work. And I thought, well, I'm gonna have to do something. So I was accepting this offer to play some acoustic shows, and he got upset about it, and we had a bit of a words. And then we were supposed to play in Athens, and I just said, well, when we get in Athens, we'll sit down, we'll talk about it. I said, because I've got to do something. And he's like, why don't you sign on? He said, thanks. I'm like, no. So no, I don't want to do that. So I said, we'll talk about it in Athens. But then I got to Athens and to do the show, and they didn't turn up. So after that, that was the end. Yeah.
Did you think it were going to be different this time around, or could you see it coming at points?
I could, I could, I could see it coming. I could see it coming. You know. Um, Again, I found myself doing the same thing, like just going along with things, just being in the tide, and letting Dave direct the direction of everything, and me just going along with it. I didn't like what we were doing, and I didn't agree with it, and I could see it coming. So yeah, I could see it coming, but it wasn't. Again, it was. I didn't do anything to instigate it. He just decided enough was enough, and he left the band. And Reg rang me up and said, like, "Oh, something to do with me." I said, "Well, okay." Oh, well, because he was saying me and Reg, me and Reg, me and Reg, and Reg is going, he's not talking for me. So all right, so he and I stayed friends, but and then John again, because I ended up working with John again eventually.
Yeah.
Uh, that was just me and Dave don't get on.
What,
Mm.
you still not talk now out in
No,
16?
I can't. No, I've gone beyond that now. I mean, it's like man's so toxic. I can't have him anywhere near me. I still love him and everything, but I always will. And a massive respect for him as a guitar player and all that. But I can't have him in my life. It's just too toxic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did release an album during that reunion. Why call it anything? How do you look back
Mm.
at that album and that time?
I like it. I mean, it was blighted for me because I had a personal tragedy that I had to deal with before it was finished, and that kind of puts a dark thing over it. But I thought it was good. I thought it was. It wasn't. It wasn't the masterpiece that was it. I still believe we had our greatest album was still in us, and I knew that wasn't it. So I thought, well, the next one, because like we hadn't written together for such a long time, and we're still kind of we'd all got into different things in the meantime, and we're like trying to find our way a little bit. And I thought that for as a what it was for us comeback album, it was good, but I thought it'll set us up for the next one will be the one, but then we never got to make it because we broke up again. So yeah.
What? So you did tour as Chameleons Vox, but and obviously now you're the Chameleons. When did the shift come in changing the name and stuff?
Well, John, um, I, I was going to go to America just to wander around with my guitar on my back and just do acoustic shows here and there. That wasn't planned, and I got to Manchester and I was staying with Tony, and the flight's fucking. I'm like, how much? You know. So Jesus, man, that's like. And they said like, well, they all came round. John was playing with this band called Bush Heart, and he'd been playing shows. Done a couple of shows called John Lever's Second Skin, and they all came round to see me at Tony's, and they said, "Well, do a gig with us in Manchester, and you'll get your flight money back, and that." Well, I went, "Oh, okay, all right." So I rehearsed with them for a couple of days. Did a show at the what was it in Manchester? That venue called on next to Oldham Street. I can't remember. Anyway, this really small venue, this small venue in Manchester. Word gets around I'm doing it, so it sells out and everything. And they did me a favor, right? And it was a really great night. And I didn't play bass. I just sang with which I really enjoyed because I didn't do that before. And then he come up to me after the gig and went, "Can you do the poly with us?" And I said, "Well, I'm in America. I don't get back. We'll get you a new flight. We'll get you a new flight." So I said, all right then. So they buy me a new flight back, and I come in and do Manchester with them, and that was really really good. And then they said like, "Well, why don't we carry on and keep doing it?" I said, "Well, I'm not fucking doing it as John Lever's Second Skin, you know what I mean?" So they said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, "Well, when I play, I call myself Chameleons Vox, so people know it's the voice of the Chameleons." He went, "That's great. We'll use that, you know." So that's why it became Chameleons Vox, and we just went from there. And we weren't trying to recreate the sound of the Chameleons. I was just having fun with this band playing Chameleons tunes the way they wanted to play them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Their
yeah,
interpretation of it. But then as it got bigger, I'm like thinking, oh, maybe we should, if we're going to do it, maybe we should do it properly, you know. So that's when we brought Neil Dwerryhouse in, who I'd worked with before, because he had that kind of guitar. He understood that sound that we needed. And he came in and then, you know, and we did Chameleons Vox for about 10 years, I think it was, or something crazy. I can't remember exactly, but a long time. And it was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's great playing. I mean, great guys were Chris and Foxy, who was originally the guitar player, Neil. Uh, Playing with John again was great. For the most part, we had a really really top time. Um, and then John started going downhill, and then that's when it all started going downhill. Really, yeah,
yeah. Well, he died a few years ago, did he, as well? So, which is obviously sad as well. Can you remember finding out?
yeah. I mean, I was obviously shocked that it happened, but not surprised if that makes sense.
Really? Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah,
There's only one way. You have a lifestyle like that. There's only one way it's going to end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a shame, isn't it?
Mm.
But speaking of the Chameleons, when did the talk of this new album come about? Then?
When Reg rejoined, as soon as Reg came back and said he wanted to do it again, it became like obvious that that's what we should do. We should write together again. And then COVID got in the way of it for a couple of years.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh. So that put a delay, but that was good because by the time all the COVID nonsense was over and things were getting kind of some semblance of normality, we had the right people in place. You know, we had Todd ready to come in on drums. Stephen was going to take over the guitar. I'd wanted to work with Danny Ashbury for a long time because the keyboard player, because I'd worked with a couple of different things. He'd done Invincible with me and various other things. So I'd wanted to do something with Danny for a long time. So bringing Danny in as a keyboard player, that was good. Um, Everything was right. I thought this was a band that we can actually take the music forward with. You know,
yeah, yeah.
it's like a serious band.
So, what? Obviously, like we said, it's like 20 years since the last piece of music, like new releases and stuff. What was it like going in the studio and writing songs? Were you a bit
Right?
not to ruin the band, not that you ruined the band's legacy, but how the fans perceive it and stuff? Were you a
I
bit?
didn't. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I was worried about that for a while before we did it. Reg put me right. He was like, "Well, why should we care?" You know. So when did we ever care? Well, that's a good point. You know, it's just like do what we do, and it is what it is. And I'm you and I, we are chameleons. So it is what we do. Whatever we do, why worry about it? What's the fucking point of it? We've never cared. It's true, actually. So that gave me a perspective on it. And I was kind of thinking it was going to take a long time. It's going to be like, I think this is going to take a long time to get together because we got, no, 2 weeks. We're racing through the ideas. We're like, and looking at each other going, whoa, okay. You know, Came together really easy. It was very enjoyable, very excited about it. Um, and we don't care if no one else is.
No, but I'm glad that you found a band and you're happy with it now and
Yeah,
after being in the Chameleons again. I'm glad about that.
yeah. It's enjoyable on every level. Everyone gets on. There's no egos. There's no fucking prima donnaism. There's no dicking around. You know we're 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 getting lots and lots of younger people at the shows, which is great. They tend to be embracing the newer sound more than the original audiences, but okay, um, we're getting the opportunity to do a lot of great things, so we're enjoying it. We're getting paid for the first time in their lives.
I don't want to go too far ahead, but with this new album and new music, do you think this will get the ball rolling for more?
I don't know. We're not looking. We're not thinking beyond the now. Really, we weren't going to make us. We want to make a record that we're proud of. That's it. And then and anything on top of that is a bonus. I don't know. Um, I mean, the single was really well received. I mean, it did polarize a few. I knew it would. I knew some people would go like, "Nah, it's not for me." But I like the old stuff better. But um, it's done really well. It charted. So I mean, that's the first. You know, um, to get actual data to see that it's doing well. The physical releases, it was top five. So I mean, that's good. You know, because we like it. I love playing it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't, I don't look beyond it. It's a great track and a great song, and that's it. So, and then I don't know if it was rubbish. If it's rubbish, I wouldn't have even put it out. And I've been buying records long enough to know a rubbish one from a good one. You know,
I think it's a great single, and like you say, we touched on it before. I think it's good that you've adapted the sound, but you haven't gone too far with it.
uh,
Like there's still the Chameleons feel in there.
yeah, it's gonna be as long as me and Reg are involved. There's gonna be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well,
Uh,
thank you, Mark, for that. Where will people be able to hear the album when it's out and the other releases and stuff?
well, the album's gonna come out on Metropolis, I think. So all good record shops, folks, all good outlets. Yeah, the usual. um, we'll do our best to promote it. We've got a really great PR now working with us. It's really great, Raby. So, we'll make it as we're not. Hopefully, it won't disappear into a black hole. You never know, it might, but we hope it won't. Um, when it's going to be finished is I don't know. I mean, we're going to start again in January, so we want to get it done now anyway. It got interrupted. We are supposed to finish it in I think in July, and then we all had stuff we needed to do because we've been on the road so much. It's like Stephen and Meg had just had a baby. I had things going on in Berlin. We all had things going on, so we had to take a hiatus. I can never know how to say that hiatus. Uh, so yeah, so the plan is to finish it now as soon as we can in the new year and deliver it, and then it's up to Metropolis after that. Um, there will be a new song, but we're not going to release it as a record. We're going to put it out we're going to do like a performance video.
All right, yeah.
That'll come out earlier, I think in the new year. We're going to do that this year. We're putting everything together, components together to film that. So you will hear another song before the album.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, if it's like anything like the other single, then I'm sure it'll be brilliant because I really enjoyed that song.
It isn't. But the good thing is, I played a rough mix of it yesterday to my partner, thinking I'm like, she was not going to like this, she's not going to like it, but it's fine, it's not her thing. She said to me this morning, she said, "Oh, I really like it. It's really catchy." I go, okay, good. So
Well, I'm looking forward to it either way. But
it's got the Ena thumbs up. So that's
yeah,
yeah,
good, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, I look forward to hearing the album. Where can people keep up to date with Chameleon stuff on social media? Just
Yeah, I mean, we have just launched a website. It's chameleonsband.com, I think.
all right.
I think it is. There's the Facebook fan club page is probably the best one, but we've got a social media person now. Gillian,
Yeah,
who does our merchandising, who people will meet if they come to the show. She's usually on the merchandising desk. She's doing our social media as well. She's really good. So she makes sure she covers all the bases with
oh, nice.
announcements and things like that. But yeah, social media. Um, and then there is a new website which we're going to make more visible in the coming months.
All right, well, brilliant, Mark, and it's been brilliant to speak to you. I really,
Cheers, man.
really
Yeah,
enjoyed that
thank you,
episode.
thank you. Yeah, it's been a good conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your time. Yeah, I
No
appreciate it.
worries, mate. No worries, and all the best with the blog, the vlog.
Nice one, thank you. Cheers. See you in a bit.
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye, bye.